Hello dear viewers, and welcome to another video from this here old dwarf, deep under the mountain in our ancient hold. Today we'll be taking a look at the video game Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords. KotOR 2, as it's often referred to, is a third-person, party-based role-playing game set in the Star Wars universe. Before we get into it proper, I will quickly do that YouTube thing where I ask, if you enjoyed the videos I do here in the ancient dwarven hold, then perhaps you might like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment of your memories with this game. So, KotOR 2 is obviously a Star Wars game. A sequel in fact to the BioWare classic KotOR 1. This second of the two games was developed by Obsidian Entertainment and published by LucasArts. It was released for PC in February 2005. Star Wars is an expansive universe of characters, locations and events. I imagine, dear viewers, that you know at least of the trilogy series of films concerning the Skywalkers, so I won't bang on about what Star Wars is, the Force, the lightsabers and all that. What I will say, as I stroke my white beard, is that this game, along with the first KotOR game, is set thousands of years before the Phantom Menace and anything concerning Darth Vader. This is a completely different time, shorn of any shackles to long-pondered events that allow the developers more free will in creating a unique story. At this time, the Republic is in full swing still, but without the grasp of any Emperor hiding in the darkness, we hope. Set 5 years after the first game, the story follows you, one of the last remaining Jedi in the galaxy, after your order was nearly wiped out by the Sith. You were exiled by the Jedi Council for reasons of which are shrouded in mystery. It is up to you, dear viewer and player, to uncover your forgotten past and have at thee with the evil Sith. Graphically, KotOR 2, which, I should mention, I played simply as the base game and with no mods, still looks good for an 18-year-old title. The detail and poly count as you would expect from an aged video game are not anything on the modern crazy hyper-mode turbo graphics, but they are a good example of the time. I believe I've said this before, but having graphics on the bleeding edge of innovation and technology is not really a priority of mine, especially as I generally play older games anyway. This is not to say that the graphics in this game are bad, far from it. Yes, there are some low detailed textures and angular looking bits of scenery, but unless you must have up to speed modern graphics for every game you play, then this shouldn't be a big deal. I think it is worth noting here that I did encounter several hard crashes with the game. Once or twice it sent my monitors black with seemingly no way to recover without a physical reboot. There were also times where I was unable to move my character as they were stuck to the ground. A save and a quick load did fix this though. It could be my setup of course, but perhaps be prepared for a few bugs when playing. They don't take away from the experience though, rather being just an inconvenience. The sound in game is solid too. The effects of weapons firing, blows being struck, and of course the use of the blessed lightsaber all sound good here. I imagine there will be serious concerns should the laser sword not sound sufficiently swooshy, but fear not, all is well. The soundtrack is top quality, featuring familiar tones to what you would expect when watching one of the movies. They did not cut any corners in the construction of wondrous rhythm and melody here, with a full suite of orchestral backing providing thumping backdrops to proceedings. All of the dialogue between characters are fully voiced, and they are voiced well, I think. There are a few aliens sounding a little strange, but I think that is just how these aliens would sound, rather than a mistuned vocal from a voice actor. The members of your party have strong voices, each helping to make their character unique and fitting to their station. For example, the wise Kriya sounds like a well-known older lady, and the cheeky rogue Atten sounds like a scoundrel. The game makes use of the D20 system, originally used for Dungeons and Dragons. When certain actions are performed in game, like opening a secured door, persuading another character, or seeing if you resist a force power, the game rolls a virtual d20 and compares the results to the target difficulty score. If the rolled value is equal to or higher than the difficulty score, then the character has succeeded in whatever action they were performing. Both the rolled number on the dice and the difficulty score itself can be increased by adding relevant bonuses, usually either from equipped items or from innate attributes of the character. Each character has values for numerous attributes like strength, dexterity, wisdom, constitution, etc. that if high enough will add a bonus to your roll. Conversely, if a relevant attribute is below 10, it will add a negative modifier to the roll. This tabletop role-playing system is interesting and allows you to really focus on the intricacies of the game, while crafting our character in a way you want them to be. The misses and dodges are usually animated, with your character ducking out of the way of a wanton blade or laser beams shooting past their mark. There is the issue of complicatedness. If you aren't into the intricacies of the role-playing system and want a more casual experience, then perhaps you might not get on with the systems here. When you begin the game, you're able to create your character. This entails selecting ahead from the presets before distributing attributes and assigning skills. Skills are similar to attributes, but are more specific to certain aspects of the game. Whereas wisdom might affect several aspects of gameplay, the skill security only affects checks involving security, i.e. opening doors and locks. It has no other purpose. Items throughout the game will include bonuses to specific skills, allowing you to create characters with powerful abilities in certain aspects of gameplay. It should be noted that the number of skill points you can increase on level up is directly tied to your intelligence attribute. Once you have created your character, you begin the game. The little initial story acts as a tutorial, describing how to do certain things as well as what different parts of your ship, the Ebon Hawk, can do. Once you're finished here and have successfully repaired the ship enough, you will awake on the Perigus mining facility, where your very presence sets in motion several story threads which you must follow before escaping back to your ship. The main gameplay of KotOR 2 involves you controlling your character in the third person while interacting with the game world. You will lead a party of companions that you'll pick up along the way, each with different skill sets and attitudes. You will traverse space stations, ships and planets in your quest to discover the machinations of the Sith and restore your lost powers. You'll perform numerous quests for the locals of the galaxy, along with your own story, varying from combat quests to locating doodads or even a ride in a swoop race. How you act and perform for any given quest will have an effect on the story, the deposition of others to you, and your presence in the Force. That is, whether you are a pious seeker of good in the light side of the Force, or an evil villain of the dark side. Perhaps even a bit of both. As you journey through the galaxy, your actions will affect your alignment, with good actions pushing you to the light side, and perceived evil actions pushing you to the dark side. As you would expect from an RPG, your character and companions will gain experience through your adventures, before acquiring enough to increase their level. Once a character is eligible to level up, you can head to the level up screen. It is here that depending on your level you have acquired, you'll be able to take a number of actions, from increasing base attributes and skills to selecting force powers and feats. Feats are special skills that your character can select that have a direct impact on gameplay, helping to specialise your character in different ways. For example, you might take the dueling feat that reduces the penalties of using a weapon in each hand, or perhaps use dexterity instead of strength when calculating attacks on enemies. All characters have access to some selection of feats, but only force-sensitive characters are able to select from force powers. These are usually active abilities that you can select and use in-game. Force users have a resource named Force Points, which are akin to mana, and they can spend them to cast any power. The powers are split up into 3 different types: dark side powers, light side powers, and universal powers. Dark side powers are usually destructive, damaging abilities like Force Lightning, Force Choke, or Wound. The light powers focus generally on buffs and healing, like Heal, Force Valor, and Force Barrier. You could say that the dark side has some of the more fun abilities, like the famous Force Lightning, but once you begin your tread upon the dark side, forever will it rule your fate. Landing between the dark side and the light side are the universal powers that are not specific to a certain alignment and common amongst all Force users. These include skills like Throw Lightsaber, Force Push, and Mind Trick. You are free to select whichever Force power you might want to use, regardless of your character's alignment. That is, if your alignment is heavily to the light side, you could still select Force Choke. Instead of restricting them to certain alignments, the cost of using abilities will depend on your current presence in the Force. For example, a heavily invested light side character attempting to do good in the galaxy will have to use notably higher amount of Force points to use a dark side ability like Force Choke, and of course the other way around. Universal powers always cost the same. The role-playing in this RPG is really quite evident. Through dialogue and your actions in game, you can craft a character fitting your particular intention. Basically, you can be a do-gooder, helping those in need and standing up against evilry, or you can be a sadistic evil bugger who doesn't care about anyone or anything but their own lust for power. This is manifested by your decisions. Do you simply kill anyone that stands in your way with utter disdain for those you perceive as weak, or do you go out of your way to help and protect the vulnerable? In such a system, I nearly always take on the role of a good guy. I can't really help myself. Even in a video game where nothing is real, I still can't do bad by someone to further my own purpose or put to death anyone that wronged me. Lately though, I have at least been on the more cheeky side of things, being a little more of a roguish character. Perhaps one day I might try evilry, we shall see. I should probably talk some of combat, which besides all the talking and running, is the main activity you'll be doing in this game. The combat is very similar to that of old Infinity Engine games, like Icewind Dale or Baldur's Gate. That is, real-time combat with active pause. The difference here is perspective. Rather than a top-down or isometric view, everything is conducted in the third person, making things feel quite frantic. When the conversation has failed and only violence will resolve the matter, the game will pause. You can then select each of your party members, 3 in total, and direct them on whom to attack or to use a certain power. The game uses a queue system where you can assign numerous actions to a character and they will perform each in a sequence that you have assigned them. For example, you could tell one character to use critical strike on one enemy, then heroically use force valor before attacking another enemy. Should you wish for them to cancel the current actions, you can left click on the queue to remove them. This can be quite fiddly, pausing, assigning targets and skills, then unpausing and letting things play out before pausing again, but once you get used to the ebb and flow, it becomes second nature. To help with combat, each character can have a certain role assigned to them, which the computer will direct them to fulfill. For example, you could set a force user to be in a support role, mostly using force powers from afar to help the party, or switch them to an aggressive role where they attack anything that comes within grasp. At certain points in the game, you will take control of just one character and work your way around a particular area. This can be challenging, especially if you haven't built that character to be a particularly damaging or self-sustaining one. The story of the game, as it unfolds, along with smaller stories on any given planet, help to create a galaxy that seems full of life and character. You will be encountering Wookiees and Hutts while dueling members of the Sith, or trying to win first place in a swoop race, which, dear viewers, is a game unto itself. There is a lot to be getting on here, and you can easily spend many hours roaming the galaxy, engaging in all sorts of adventures. I do like this game a lot. The characters are rich and interesting, with each of your companions in-game providing their own unique take on proceedings. The NPCs you encounter too are well written, varying from a little bit silly to deadly serious. I would say, if you enjoy that classic kind of role-playing game, then you would enjoy this. And even if you're not a particularly big Star Wars fan, the game is crafted so well that it's worth playing just to immerse yourself in the story of our hero, the Jedi Exile. Thusly, I would strongly recommend this game to enjoyers of RPGs who want to get stuck into a good long example of the genre. It certainly is a classic computer role-playing game. This game is on sale a lot on both Steam and GOG. I got my version from GOG, so you can pick it up cheap. There are of course mods for the game too that you could get a hold of on Nexus Mods if you fancy. And there we go, dear viewers, another video done. A bit of a longer one today. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and I thank you for watching until the end. Take care, and I will see you next time.